Sierra. Brown Air, request taxi instructions, over. Commander 560 Sierra. Runway 50, clear to taxi. Commander 560 Sierra, roger. Montgomery ground control, Commander 60 Sierra. What's your latest wind and altimeter? Commander 60 Sierra. Wind is at 30 degrees 15, altimeter is 2992. Commander 60 Sierra, thank you. Commander 60 Sierra, Montgomery ground. Positive instructions, right side of the taxi. Commander 60 Sierra, roger. Montgomery Tower, Commander 560 Sierra, ready for takeoff. Commander 60 Sierra, clear for takeoff. Commander 60 Sierra, roger.
Times are sure changing around here. Progress. That's what they call it. Huh. Pretty soon, this won't be a fit place for anything except airplanes and people. I remember when one of these good old airports was a... But wait a minute. Before I get off on my airport story, this is a good time to set you straight about the difference between the three main municipal airports in the San Diego area: Lindbergh Field, Brown Field, and Montgomery Field. Lindbergh Field, the big jet airport, is owned and maintained by San Diego's Unified Port District because it's located on tidelands of the bay. But the two others are owned by the city and administered by the airport's department. Brown Field, located on Otay Mesa in South San Diego, and Montgomery Field, located on Kearney Mesa, are both used mostly for private and executive airplanes. Actually, you might remember when Montgomery was called Gibbs Airport. That was back in the 40s. But after the war, private and business flying really began to pick up. And in 1947, the city of San Diego bought the airport from old Bill Gibbs. And the name was changed to John J. Montgomery Airport. You know about Montgomery. He was one of the world's first flying pioneers. 20 years before the Wright brothers, he was flying gliders down near Otay. In 1964, the airport's department gained full department status. At the time, Montgomery Field first boasted 2 asphalt-paved runways, each 3,400 feet long. It's great for airplanes, but on a hot day, it sure does burn your feet. On the 450-acre complex, the department maintains emergency equipment for rescue operations, operates fueling facilities, and provides flight information services. The men who run the control tower are employees of the Federal Aviation Administration, although the airport's department is responsible for the enforcement of federal, state, and local air regulations. Montgomery Airport averages 275,000 flight operations a year. So these fellas have to be on their toes. Almost as much as we do. At least they're up where it's safe. And it's getting crowded. In 1968, Montgomery was the home of almost 300 private and executive airplanes. And considering the way private flying is taking off, one of these days Montgomery will be filled to its capacity of 1,000 airplanes. Ugh. The way I get it, the changes being made now are to take care of this growth in air traffic. This road they're carving through my former bedroom and dining room will lead to a big new administration building. I guess one of the more important changes will be the construction of a runway paralleling one of the existing runways. This parallel runway is needed to handle the increase in traffic due to new airplanes and new companies coming into the area. Later, as the demand for use by business jets increases, one of the runways will be lengthened to 5,300 feet. And speaking of business, one reason that new companies are coming in is the surrounding industrial parks. Some of this industrial area is located next door to Montgomery Field land with direct access to the runways. The way aircraft-oriented business is moving in, it won't be long before a poor old jackrabbit won't be able to keep a roof off his head. I thought of hopping down to Brown Field near the border, but from what I hear, it's growing just as fast as Montgomery. Brown Field used to be a Navy Air facility, but its 900 acres was purchased by the city in 1962. Brown Field is the home of about 185 airplanes, mostly private and executive, like at Montgomery. Although this is far from the field's capacity of 1,500 airplanes, it is already one of the busiest airports in the country, averaging more than 1,000 flight operations per day. An interesting example of business growth at Brown Field is Pacific Southwest Airlines' foreign pilot training program. PSA, whose headquarters are in San Diego, not only trains its own pilots here, but it also trains personnel for other airlines. Because the field is only a couple of miles from the border of Mexico, it is also the home base for the government's Border Patrol aircraft. In order to take care of this growth, Brown Field is also undergoing some changes. The parallel runway, for instance, was repaved. Modifications were made to the existing administration's building to provide a new student cafeteria, flight dispatch offices, and an enlarged public restaurant. And this area is also growing as a site for industry. One reason for this is a unique experiment that was begun here right after the field was acquired. There was a lot of unoccupied footage in the old Navy buildings, so the airports department put them up for lease at the low rate of 3 cents a square foot. This incubator for industry program has really paid off with a variety of products. But the real future looks to be on the far side of the field, where a big industrial park has been made available for lease. Rohr Corporation already has a test facility in the park. This area has all the ingredients for rapid expansion into an aircraft-oriented industrial park similar to the one adjacent to Montgomery Field. Such parks, when fully developed, will provide substantial revenue to the city. The two city-owned airports, with their modernization now matching the growth of air and industrial operations, are in a position to benefit heavily from this increase in air traffic. Yep, the air picture looks good for the citizens of San Diego, unless you belong to our furry, long-eared, short-tailed group. In that case, your gain is our loss. But as I always say, if you can't lick 'em, join 'em. Yahoo!